welcome back to the channel. We're back with another video. In today's video, we'll be breaking down Dan Quinn's presser, some Terry news, and also some guys that are off the injury report as they reported to practice today. Just a few quick notes here. The Commanders were not in pads today. There was no pads, and there is no play-by-play updates. I searched everywhere for play-by-play updates. Nothing. I didn't see anybody had a touchdown. I didn't see anybody made a good throw, bad throw. I didn't see any updates about practice. It was all Dan Quinn's presser. But that being said, there was a lot of good stuff from Dan Quinn's presser. So make sure you guys hit the like button. We are about 6 subscribers away from 2,000 subscribers. Get me there, please, man. And then hit that notification bell as well. Thank you to you everydayers who show up every day. Really appreciate you. Your support does not go unnoticed. So let's dive into Dan Quinn's presser. We'll start with, and by the way, this got heated today. This got pretty bad today. But we'll start with a little bit of an update that's not from Dan Quinn. This is from DC Sports Blog on X, at DC Sports Blog. He says, one person with knowledge of McLaurin's contract negotiations told at Nikki Javala that veteran receiver has asked for more than DK Metcalf, that Terry McLaurin has asked for more than DK Metcalf, which would mean he wants to be top 4 among wide receivers in average annual value, or top 10 in guaranteed money, or top 5 in percent of team cap. I think this is ridiculous if Terry McLaurin's asking for more than DK Metcalf. I think, and I'm just throwing this out there, I know a lot of people like to hate on Terry McLaurin's agent. That's what's fly right now. That's what's going around right now. They're hating on Terry McLaurin's agent, Buddy Baker, but I don't know if it's him or not. I have my prediction. I think it is him. I think as I've said for a while now, I think Buddy Baker has told Terry McLaurin, you're going to get this amount of money. I'm going to cash you this check. You're going to get this. Adam Peters is just going to pay you whatever you want. You're the number one weapon on the team. He's going to pay you whatever you want. And I think he kind of gave that news to Terry McLaurin, and Terry McLaurin hasn't backed down since because he believes he can still get that money. So apparently Terry McLaurin wants more money than DK Metcalf, which is even worse. But things got to a boiling point in practice today, and Dan Quinn talked about it. I'll get to it in a second. First, positive news. Dan Quinn said left guard Brandon Coleman will be at practice, and Brandon Coleman was at practice. There's no pads today. Good to see Brandon Coleman back at practice. He needs more experience. I'd love to see Brandon Coleman play in the preseason game Saturday versus the Ravens. He missed the first 2 preseason games. He needs more experience on the inside. He needs more experience at the guard position. And I get he's a starter, and basically no starters are going to play Saturday. I need him to play. I need him to get more experience. And what better way to do that is to go light and against, Walmart workers and against Uber drivers, and what better way to do it? Get him into it. Linnell Willingham wrote, a lot of PR politics going on right now between the Commanders and Terry. Dan Quinn totally sidestepped the question of, was it the plan for him? So someone asked, was it the plan for him to not be at the game the other night? And is that something you all had discussed? And what was the reason behind that? Linnell said, to his credit, he didn't want to lie, I feel. But if it was the plan, then just say, yeah, we mutually agreed on that. Definitely feels like things are a lot more rocky than what's being reported. Have had a hunch all along things were a little more turbulent than we suspected. I definitely agree. I think it is more turbulent than we suspected. I think it is worse than we suspected. I think this thing has reached a boiling point at this point. And I'll let you know what Dan Quinn said right here from JP Finley. Dan Quinn on if Terry McLaurin will be on the practice field. Dan Quinn said, I'm not going to play Where's Waldo on it. He's healthy, and that's a good step forward being back on the field. So Dan Quinn said, in simpler terms, I'm not going to give you guys every update on where Terry McLaurin is. I've given you the update that he's back and he's been activated off the pup. I'm not giving you update on why he's not here. I'm not giving you every update on why he missed the game Monday night. That's what Dan Quinn said. And Dan Quinn said, listen, I'm done. I'm not going to take any more questions on Terry McLaurin. I'm done talking about this. That's what Dan Quinn said. And I think it's reached a boiling point in his head. But we'll see. But head coach Dan Quinn did say Terry McLaurin is now in the conditioning phase, coming off the PUP list. So Terry McLaurin, you're not going to see him out of practice for a little while, but he's in the conditioning phase of his ramp up. Dan Quinn said he's going to go through a ramp up. Terry McLaurin's now in the conditioning phase of that ramp up. And so he's going to start to get more active every single day, and he's going to, go through jog throughs and stuff. Again, I think this is a fake ankle injury, but we'll see. I think the team basically said, we're going to activate you off PUP because you have a job to do. We threw in the towel for you for however long, and we tried to work on negotiations. We didn't get it done, though. And so we're going to put you back out there because we need you back out there to do anything this year. Dan Quinn said there's definitely a lot of battles he's looking forward to seeing against the Ravens, so me too. Dan Quinn also said Brian Robinson has been excused from practice today. Quinn said the team is hoping for a resolution soon. It is obvious that they're moving on from Brian Robinson. They're going to trade him or cut him. And so Dan Quinn says they hope they find a resolution soon for Brian Robinson. Dan Quinn addressed the media. He said he liked what he saw from the run game and pass protection from the offensive line. The energy from the defense in the first part of the game felt more like us. I really like to hear that. That means he had a great week of practice and he got the team back out there and they're ready to go. And I love to see that. I do love to see that. So Quinn also said Trey Amos will be back at practice. Good to see. Good to hear. Would have loved Trey Amos to play the other night in the preseason game and guard guys like T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, but he apparently had hamstring tightness, and they were rather be safe than sorry. I think we already know what Trey Amos is. I think he is a starter in this league. He's going to start week 1 for this team. He might already be the best outside corner on this team. I don't know. Dan Quinn also addressed Sam Cosmi. I talked about this a little bit earlier, but I'll give you an update from a different reporter. Quinn said Sam Cosmi continues to hit all the markers on his recovery. Still no clear date on when he'll be back, but he's getting closer to being on the field again. So, Sam Cosmi is continuing to hit all his markers. Can he be here by week 1? I think if he was going to be here by week 1, I think Dan Quinn would have said, listen, he will be here by week 1, and we're expecting him to be ready by week 1. I think Dan Quinn would say that, but I just don't see a world where you get it. You tear your ACL in January, and on top of all that, you're a big guard, a huge guard, has a lot of weight. Your lower extremities don't handle well when you have those injuries. So I just think it's the hardest possible situation to get him back, Sam Cosmi. So, but he's hitting all his markers. We should get him back by week 4 or 5, I would imagine. Marcus Mariota was also back at practice today, so that was very good. And I already told you Brandon Coleman was back at practice, so that's all I got for the updates. But let's talk about the Terry McLaurin situation here. Just give you the latest updates. Latest updates are Terry McLaurin is asking for more than DK Metcalf, apparently. Latest updates are the team is still far apart with Terry McLaurin per Adam Schefter. We're going to reach a boiling point soon, and we're going to reach a point where it gets to this relationship is definitely broken. And it gets to, listen, we need you back. You're under contract. You have to show up to work. The team has all the leverage. As this situation goes on, it becomes more and more clear how perfect Adam Peters has played it and how poorly his agent Buddy Baker has played it. Now, listen, I would love AP to have a little bit more urgency in the situation. Have a little bit more urgency. Be the guy that, steps in and says, listen, we have to get this done. We have to get this done before training camp. I wish you would have said that. I wish there would have been more urgency so we didn't have to worry about that. But here we are, August, 20th, with no deal done. And so Terry McLaurin's going to have to show up to work. He's activated off the PUP list, going through conditioning currently. So practice today, no updates. There's no pads. No big things took place. Don't worry about that. But Terry McLaurin apparently is asking for more than DK Metcalf. That is the latest update we have on that situation. As far as, other things in Terry McLaurin, Dan Quinn just got a little bit heated. He said, we're not going to play the Where's Waldo game with Terry McLaurin. He said, I'm not going to track him down everywhere and give all the updates on where he's at. So that reached a little bit of a boiling point. But other than that, a positive day of practice. We got a bunch of the guys back, got to work on some football today. And so the team, I assume, had a really good day of practice. That's going to do it for me. Hail to the Washington Commanders. As always, you guys have a great rest of your Wednesday. Preseason game this Saturday against the Baltimore Ravens. Let's get hyped for that. I'll see you guys in the next one, and peace.